Good morning. I'd like to call the Executive Committee meeting for Wednesday, February 26th to order. If we can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Lear, Mr. Washington, Mr. Hess, Mr. Tholen, Mr. Byrne, Ms. Weber, Mr. Payton, Mr. Kinzinger, Ms. Haas, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Miller, Mr. Seroy, Mr. Wheeler. May I have a quorum?
Thank you. Have no public comment or presentations. Approval of the minutes, January 29th. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Washington, Mr. Miller with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I do apologize at times. I may start coughing. I'm just getting over being sick, so I'm not contagious anymore. As far as you know. So I just, it comes and it goes, but yeah, it was bad last week, believe me. And maybe Mr. Beavis has comments on that. I did go to India, not China. So just so I didn't bring anything back from there. So under information services, Mr. Duval, do you have anything today? Does anyone have any questions for Kevin regarding anything going on in the world of technology? Okay, you're off the hook. Moving on, Health Department, Mr. Beavis, anything to share?
I didn't have anything specific.
You can jump on the mic over there, yeah.
Good morning. I didn't have anything specific, but I am available for questions. I originally thought I was going to be held up in a meeting, but it got postponed to tomorrow, so I am available.
Any questions about anything? No coronavirus locally?
I still suggest you get your flu shots if you haven't.
Yes.
Be concerned about the coronavirus, but you need to be more concerned about our flu.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Moving on, schools, Dr. Murphy, nothing today. VAC, we have a monthly report, motion to approve the monthly report. Mr. Hess, second. Mr. Payton, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion, or same sign to oppose. Motion carries. Under County Administrator's report, Anita Speckman.
Good morning. How is everyone? Good. You can see an uptick this morning in, we had an actual increase of 13 heads on our staffing report. Now, of those, if you look at probation, there were 4 adult probation officers that were added. Those, if you remember from budget time, Tom's been speaking about that in the judicial public safety meetings, that those are all 4 fully funded by the state. So they increase their funding to pay for those. So we're reimbursed for those. And then if you look down at the state's attorney line, there's 5 employees, 2 full-time, 3 part-time. Just a note, those are all the AmeriCorps grant. So it's actually a living allowance, not an actual salary for hours worked. So the full-time employees are somewhere around $15,000 a year. The part-time employees are about $5,700, I believe. Those are, there is some matching money. I can't remember that one, if it was 20% matching, 80-20, I'm not sure, but they're in that grant. They're grant funded, but there is some matching dollars in that grant. So we'll end up paying part of the cost of that grant in services here, but
and that was noted in the budget.
That was noted, included in the budget.
The local match.
Right, there's nothing there that's outside the budget at all. The corrections officer, if you look there, there are another 6 employees there. Based on their trend of around 135, 136, it's about an additional 6 people that were added. Right now, they've got 4 employees that are out on long-term FMLA. If you remember, there are 2 still out on military leave that are overseas. There's no anticipated return date there. And then we've got 2 that are on long-term work comp. So they actually both those employees were injured a year ago, within a day of each other, one February 6th and one I think on the 7th, that we've been working on trying to get a resolution to those 2 cases. But if 4, 6, 8, that's 8 people you're out that are not there. So I do have a call into Chad to verify what's going on. If he knows of new terminations coming up, a lot of times I'll see that he'll start staffing up if he knows of something coming up. So I put a call out to him last night. I just didn't hear before the meeting. So I'm following up on that to find out what's going on there.
Any questions about that? Staffing? All right. Anything else going on of import?
Carol had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carol.
I just was happy to read about Bradley joining the CanCom. So that would be affected on here eventually if those employees-
Eventually, yes. I've been emailing Tammy Peterson back and forth, mostly regards to benefits and transitioning those 7 employees over. We don't actually, yesterday we're trying to work with our insurance company on timing and what the date is. They'll come over with no, as part of the agreement, with no lapse. So our employees join us the first of the month following 60 days of employment. We're working with Blue Cross Blue Shield on what we'll do for those Bradley employees and what that actual date is, if it will be effective. The paper said April 1st. Is it going to be April 1st? Will it be 2 weeks before? We're working through that issue, right?
I'm pleased to hear you say when they come over. There isn't any when some of them come over. It's when they come over.
Right.
Is that accurate?
We don't know for sure if all 7 will,
Oh.
but they are all 7 part of the agreement, intergovernmental agreement. Yeah.
Seems like from the explanation in the newspaper, it seemed like a very, very good idea to join together.
Yeah, it's something that we have tried for years and years to get Bradley to realize that savings, and through the foresight of their current mayor pro tem and their trustees, we finally got that done.
That's nice.
So, was there any discussion on pension transfer and things like that? Is it the same fund, or has anybody brought that up yet?
No, we haven't talked about it. They would be IMRF.
And they probably were
regular.
there as well.
They would have been, yes.
So that might be
They
seamless.
have to be.
Yeah, they would have to be. So I don't
Correct.
think that's an issue.
And in fact, Blue Cross Blue Shield looked up their plan. They have Blue Cross Blue Shield there, so they're going to move right into our plan. But Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to recognize their deductibles paid year to date as a part of the agreement.
That's
So
a good agreement. Wow.
Any other questions for Anita? Think coming up next month we should be looking out for? I'm putting you on the spot.
I never know. Gosh, I hope not.
What's your crystal ball say? Yeah. No, that's good. And then as far as the way that we never really asked this, open enrollment and everything this year, you know, I want to say smooth is not the word we
No.
ever use. But do you
No.
see any trends that it's improving, not improving?
It was not an easy process this year. I will say I received comments from several employees and retirees that were really happy with the transition. Oh, it went so easy. And I said, well, then you didn't see that we did a good job of hiding what was going on behind the scenes. The transition from United Healthcare to Blue Cross Blue Shield was challenging. There are things I do want to change in terms of pushing up the open enrollment so we're not so close to when our new year starts. I'd like to push it up a year, but a month. I'm sorry. Push it up a month just to give ourselves and the vendors more time. It was really the behind the scenes stuff that really was not seamless.
Right. yeah, we did have some hand wringing and hair pulling
True.
out of ourselves. Like, you know, it was kind of maddening behind the scenes
Yeah.
because things didn't go very smooth. But to their credit, the whole team really chipped in and pulled it out. So.
Yeah, luckily I had Kelly to help me this year. And so there were two of us trying to take the calls and jump in and do things. So it was really a tremendous help. Really a tremendous help.
Can I ask one more question?
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Have you received a report when we all agreed to the employee assistance program? Have you received a report yet, a monthly report or anything about the usage?
No, they're actually not going to do anything on usage reporting. They said they'd probably wait about 6 months, kind of wait for it to get some steam, and yeah. They typically only do one a year, but based on the fact that it's our first year and they knew that renewal would be based on usage, they agreed to give me one somewhere along July or August, so.
Thank you.
Anything else? Appreciate it. Thank
Okay.
you. Under administrative, I have a couple of appointments here. Catherine Langlois to the Kankakee County Historic Preservation Commission, and Bill Sawyer to reappointment to the Kankakee County ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a motion to combine and approve those two, please? Mr. Washington, Mr. Featherling for the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. So some other openings we have. Mantino number 9 Drainage District, 3 openings on the Regional Planning Commission. Those are just general citizens from the community. One opening on Kankakee County GIS Committee. Dell, a county board member, was going to, yeah, it's a board member, and one was going to talk to you. Have they done so yet?
A couple of them talked to me.
Okay. Nobody's taken the leap. Okay. 3 openings on the Bloom Grove Cemetery Association and 2 openings on the Kankakee County Farmland Assessment Review Committee. All right. Moving on to new business. Got a couple of things here. We have Dave Barron is here with us today. David approached me about as a representative of the KDC, and I don't know if you can sit up here, Dave, if you want. Yeah, come up here. You have to stand in the back. What the KDC? Does everyone know what the KDC, the Kankakee Development Corporation? It's basically a group of downtown businesses. They get it's a special taxing district, and they do facade improvements, murals. They did a lot of work on the park over here. So it's you know, they do a lot of work in downtown Kankakee within that district, and they did the Frank Lloyd Wright murals that you see on the buildings around here. So he had approached me with a request, and I'll let him explain what exactly he's looking for from the KDC's perspective. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. I have come on behalf of KDC. I'm a board member of the Kankakee Development Corporation, and Chairman gave a good description of what we are about. It is about revitalization of a thriving downtown Kankakee through various measures. The board of KDC has decided to undertake a program for a series of murals in downtown Kankakee. We've had some great successes with the Finding Frank murals, as well as a few private murals that have been commissioned that really just add a colorful spark to life in downtown Kankakee. The impact of public art on psychology is incredible for a number of different reasons. It brings out walkability, brings out people's interest, it brings out life and vigor to an area. The types of murals that we're looking at for this program are very specific. We are looking at doing a number of interactive murals. If nothing else, you know, they're supposed to look nice, but the primary objective with these murals specifically is to get people to take out their phones and take pictures next to them, literally, to try to get people to take pictures and say, I am in downtown Kankakee, right next to this mural that shows other people that they are also invited to come to downtown Kankakee for a colorful, exciting experience. To do that, these are not going to be very large murals. None are going to be bigger than 8 feet tall. They're going to be relatively small. We're looking at doing 4 different murals. One will be down closer to the farmers market parking lot. We're going to incorporate that into the farmers market experience so that there is a nice picture that you can have while you are part of the farmers market. This one, we're looking at the 135 North Schuyler, which is the Veterans Commission old Veterans Commission building. Beautiful building. It has a southern-facing wall that is ideal for some piece of public art.
And that picture's in your packet, kind of as a representation of where what they're talking about doing in this spot and where it would be located.
Right, and this one we're submitting to you as a preliminary design for the executive committee's approval. If you can take a look at it, this is actually a map of the county. The differences in color are the roads, as well as the Iroquois and Kankakee rivers running through it. It also incorporates certain elements of a mural that was done several years ago at the corner of Schuyler and Merchant on the ground specifically. Just because of paint and traffic, that mural eventually went away. But the idea is to keep some of those elements going. So we have submitted an agreement that is based upon what we did with the owners of the buildings where we put the Finding Frank murals. So that is what we are tendering to you, the executive committee.
Sure. And, you know, Dave, he knows a few attorneys, and so he had drafted up a preliminary document for us to consider in the state's attorney's office. I wouldn't say don't get too deep into that, but you know, some things that I wanted to make sure of, like if somebody tags it, or they have to fix it, you know, that kind of thing. We want to make sure that it's maintained and it just doesn't, you know, deteriorate, and then all of a sudden we have a wall to paint. You know, that's part of the agreement that I would like to see is that they commit to, you know, maintaining that spot, you know, and we would, if you look at the image on there, and I don't know how the artists feel, you know, it's about this, but I think it has a certain, I can see reasons to leave the wall the way it is. There may be a reason to paint the wall before we get there. We don't want half the wall painted,
Right.
Because that would look goofy, you know, but we want to do this the right way. So the question is, you know, is there anything else you think is a consideration that should be included in this so we can have the state's attorney's office work with Dave on getting this hammered out? Please, Mr. Kinzer.
Yeah, this represents art and it looks great, but I'm looking at the building behind it. I think that we should authorize payment at the cost if the owner doesn't. We're the owner of that building.
Yeah, that's us.
Then I think we should paint the wall before they put the mural up.
Okay. And so we would like to see Wes get a
let's
price
paint-
for painting that and you kind of repair that.
Yes.
We should do that, and I agree, you know, when we paint this, is there any consideration we need to, maybe you find that out with the artist, what does it need to be so it's better lasting and, you know, that kind of stuff, pliable to this situation? We'll go through that process. Thank you.
And if I can add, so we have not selected the artist yet.
Right.
We have talked to 4 different artists, and they've provided us quotes. We haven't selected who that's going to be. The final design will be theirs. This is just the preliminary design, but it's up to the artist to put their special touch to it. But we will definitely make sure we know who that is.
Yeah, and they're going to send that design back to us to make sure it's within, bounds. I mean, obviously, I'm not in the business of censoring art, but we want to make sure that it's something that fits with the image that we would prefer on our building.
Right.
So if it's similar to this, I don't see any issues. I don't think you guys do either, correct? Okay. Motion to approve, Mr. Seroy. Second, we'll go with Mrs. Weber on this one. She hasn't. I don't think you. Did you have a second?
I have a second and a second question.
Please.
Did you say there were 4?
There will be, that's the goal, is to have 4. We have approached, this would be the second in the series. The first in the series would hopefully be the one down at the farmer's market in time for the opening of the farmer's market. The hope would be to have this one up and ready to go by an event that we call Sunset Stroll. They essentially they're going to block off the 100 North block of North Schuyler and have a Friday evening event, kind of a street festival. So the hope would be to have this mural up by that event, which is in early June. Right. So the other 4 we're working on those. We have spots scoped. We haven't approached the owners of the buildings yet. We have themes that carry in with the rest of the idea for this mural series.
Your agreement lists 5 years. Is that a reason for that? It should be up 5 years.
I think the idea with that is just because we'll be putting money into commissioning the artist, we would just want to make sure that it's up for a reasonable amount of time.
If you're going to go to the trouble.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll consider that. Like if it's still up, we may figure out language. If this is still up and active and in good shape in 5 years, maybe there's an extension that goes on, you know, to keep it there if it becomes a hot spot. You know, we just don't want to, you know, we want this to be something that is of value, and I think it is of value. The one question or the one statement I would make is that we probably would want to wait until the artist and the design is selected, because maybe a white backdrop is not necessarily what would be best. So we'll wait to paint the wall until we know what the artist thinks. Should the whole thing be green and the other stuff, you know, I mean, I can't say. So we'll wait on that aspect too. We'll just figure out what would it cost to slap paint up there. Okay. Anything else? So we had a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Yep. The last item of new business is a letter for the South Suburban Airport. It's a support letter that I was asked to put in front of the board. I can tell you the Economic Alliance voted on the same letter and is supporting it as a region. The idea of, not the idea, the initiative of the third airport, it's picked back up again. There's funding in the capital bill for the interchange and the roads to get there. It is a project again. It's not, you know, the state owns, I can't remember, 90% of the land that it needs up there. So it is a renewed effort. And so I know I personally support it. It's one of those where I said, okay, I'll put it in front of the board and see what they say. You know, and answer what questions I know, and we can find answers to others that we don't know. So this is more of a free discussion, and then if there is a motion that comes out of it, we can go from there. So is there anybody that has any comment on this? Mr. Washington?
We've been involved in the third airport since its original proposition. I know that the state has been continually quietly acquiring property all of this time. There are some issues that I don't know whether they resolved them or not, about drainage from the airport, infecting the streams and rivers around there. But all in all, I believe that it's still a viable thing to do, because we still have a lot of transporting from here to O'Hare Airport and to Midway Airport, and that could be also added into if, like they do in Champaign, they have a flight from Champaign to O'Hare.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have the same thing from here to O'Hare.
Sure.
And would increase the possibility of people getting to their site when they wish to, rather than having to depend on ground transportation. So I'm all for it. I was on one of the original study groups combined with Will County, and they didn't want us to do anything, but we still persisted and was part of the original planning. Somewhere there's a whole stack of paperwork concerning the sound barriers, the things that would be created by planes taking off. There's restrictions as to housing and businesses that would be located in that area. They'd have to be restricted. The restriction zone would be set into the airport. Anyway, there's just a ton of work that's already been done, and I'd hate to see that go to waste simply because it's been downplayed and neglected over this period of time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And to your point, there's still the third airport commission is still there. The board is still set up. Right. It's not active because the project hasn't been active, but it's still legislated. There is an authority over that, and we have strong representation as seats on that board here as a county. So it has been a strategic initiative for a long time, and it seems like it's picking it back up steam again through the efforts of Congresswoman Kelly, and the governor is involved. There's a lot of push on this with Senate President, Speaker of the House. Seems like they're moving on it again. So that's why we're here to talk about it. And it will evolve. I mean, it's configurations. You've heard that no airlines want to go there. Well, the current airlines own the gates at the other airports.
Oh.
And so, of course, they're not going to go there because they own the gates and they rent the other ones to the other airlines who would probably go there.
Right.
You see my point? So it's a captive audience. So, I mean, there's the one thing to consider also is in this is day one, it opens up. It'll probably take 3% of the air freight from O'Hare, which is makes it viable financially like that. It's not necessarily transport that the freight aspect of it, the landing fees will keep it moving. Mr. Hess?
Thank you, Chairman. I went up there with a group from the county several years ago, and there's a lady, and I think she's still there, Susan Shea.
I don't, that was the airport, the South Suburban Airport group. That was the one Congressman Jackson had put together. I don't know if she's still there or not.
Anyway,
Yeah.
at that time, they said that 90% of that is going to be for freight, just to eliminate the traffic at O'Hare and Midway.
Right.
They said it would be the longest east-west runway in the state.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that means a lot right there. If you can free up, the freight going into each of the other airports.
Right.
So
Yep. I agree. And I think you may not hear O'Hare's group say that, because obviously they get landing fees for those things, but they know that they need to unclog the freight situation there. It's a problem for them. Yeah. Did you have something, Mr. Miller?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Washington kind of beat me to it, but if and when the airport were to be built and it comes together, the Kankakee County Soil and Water Conservation District found that about 85% of that drainage from the airport would come through Kankakee streams and creeks. So we'd want to make sure that we kept a close eye on the integrity of the drainage conveyance systems all the way down to the Kankakee River, and maybe even monitor the drainage treatment process from the airport before that water entered our system.
Okay.
Those are some things to keep an eye on as it comes together.
Yes, thank you for that. That is a known, because obviously most of the water in this county and in other counties and will filter right into our river system. So more reasons for other initiatives that may be going on at the time. So anything else on that? Mr. Payton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What gets me excited about the whole project is the jobs it's going to bring. Once it gets started, it will be jobs north as well as south.
It's a major jobs engine, major. And that's just day one. I mean, over the lifetime, it could be huge. And I know that the people in that area, may or may not want it, of that situation. But, the simple fact is that all major cities have 3 airports except for Chicago. And that's just a fact. And you're not a world-class city unless you have 3 airports. That is absolutely true, because you can't get in and out. That's just the fact of the future. So I know I support it. So is there a motion on the floor to support this, to send it to the full board? Go with Mr. Kinzinger, and then let's Mr. Featherling with a third from Mr. Payton. Okay. Motion by Mr. Payton, second by Mr. Featherling. How about that? Yeah. So any more discussion on that? We'll send it to the full board for discussion and hopeful approval at that point. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for that. Anything under old business? Yes, Mr. Hess.
I'm going to bring this up under new business. I'm not going to be here tomorrow for the finance meeting, and I think we need to start looking at a raise for the recorder, the circuit clerk, the coroner, and the auditor. It's been since 2012 since they've had a raise, and I know it has to be done, I believe, before May.
Yep, it would be next month's finance when it would come on the agenda to go to the full board. Yeah.
I was going to bring it up tomorrow,
And
but I'm
it's-
not going to make
yeah.
the meeting tomorrow, so I just want to make sure that gets put on the agenda. And I believe 4 years ago, the sheriff, county clerk, treasurer, who's the fourth one?
Regional? No. Superintendent? I'm trying to remember who was on that.
But I believe we negotiated, or we gave them a stipend 4 years ago, so. I think
State's
it's-
attorney? No, that's state.
No, that's state, yeah.
Anyway, the
anyway,
other one's got it.
Right.
Yeah.
The four, the recorder, circuit clerk, coroner, and the auditor. I think we need to start looking into that so we have it ready for the finance meeting.
And we will, the person who's going to help us get that together is writing it down as we speak. So making note of that. The other thing is we also have to set compensation for the board as well. And we'll have another discussion about some things that are with state laws changing. We have to have another discussion about the way compensation works for board members and other things, you know, with the grandfathered health insurance. We've already had that. People need to understand some things have changed. Because there was, you know, some things from the past where, you know, you could have, and I've already talked to those board members about it, but you can no longer be on it's considered compensation if you're in IMRF, if you're getting health insurance. So when people were no longer in IMRF, per an act of 2014, I believe that changed, they will take away the IMRF if you were getting that compensation as being a board member of that same unit. So we'll talk more about that later. But
That has never been passed though, has it?
no, it's passed.
It is passed?
It is passed,
Okay.
yeah. And that takes effect in December when the new board sits.
Right.
Then these new rules take effect. So we'll have time to plan for it, but we have to act in.
Not taking it away or stopping it. You
Yeah.
still have it, but you can't use it. You can't
Right.
receive it.
Right. Yeah, you can't receive it, or you have to forego the pay for going to the meetings. You can't do both.
One of the two.
Yeah, it's one of the two. But you could have retired from another county position and still be a county board member, but if your IRMRF was from the county board, then you can't have both.
Correct.
That makes sense. Which I tend to agree with, you know, so. Any other things under old business? Anything else? Because then we'll need a motion to go into executive session per 5 ILCS 120/2 C11. Is there a motion there? We'll go Mr. Seroy, and a second with Mr. Washington. A voice vote.
Aye.
Wait a minute, that's a roll call. That's a roll call. Yeah, sorry, I had to think about that a minute. Roll call, please.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Miss Weber,
Aye.
Mr. Payton,
Aye.
Mr. Kinzinger, Miss Haas, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Seroy, Mr. Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I just took my meds. Caught me mid-meds. All right, we'll take a break for a moment. We'll make sure the stream is cut, and then we'll be back live in just a second. Nancy, look. I'd like to call the meeting back to order of the Executive Committee, February 26, 2020. Resuming after executive session, all members still present. So there is no other business for today. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hess, second. Mrs. Haas. I got the head nod. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Have a good day.